Welcome everyone to this session in Dynamics 365 User Group India. Today we are having part two of vendor onboarding and collaboration series in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations, and this is session 16 of the group. Quick agenda for today is we will do a group introduction and then I will hand it over to Narasimha for the session. And towards the end, I will talk about what are the new and upcoming sessions in this group. Uh, Disclaimer is that the views expressed in these sessions are purely based on speakers' experience. They does not represent view of their employers or Microsoft. And for these sessions, we use Contoso demo data and trial environments. And also any recommendations made during these sessions should not be applied directly into the production environment. If you want to take away and test in your projects, then test these things in sandbox environment before applying to production. And the session is being recorded on Teams and it will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. So if you do not wish to be consented to be a part of a recorded session, then this is a good time to disconnect. About Group, our objective is very simple, to create a platform for Microsoft Dynamics professionals in India and worldwide to connect, learn, and grow together. Here on the screen, you see our group logos. And these are our various handles where we are available. So do scan these and join us and follow us and help us to take this group to the next level. We have almost 680 people on LinkedIn who have joined us. So a big thanks to everyone who is supporting this group. Your feedback and support is helping us to drive this group in the right direction. On the right hand side, you see group volunteers who are working behind the scenes to drive this group forward. If there are any questions regarding this group, then you can reach out to any one of us. And if you want to present in this group, then also you can reach out to us. A quick glimpse of our journey so far. We started in July last year, and till date, we have done almost 15 sessions. We have covered Dynamics 365, Finance and Operations, Business Central, Power Platform, Dataverse. We have touched on integration, dual write, business events, and we have also touched on warehousing and some Power BI sessions. So as you can see, there is a constant sessions happening, and the group being is getting good support from Microsoft MVPs and the community members. So thanks a lot, everyone who have given the session and who are driving this group forward with us. So today we have Narsim, who is going to talk about vendor collaboration and onboarding functionalities in Dynamics 365 Finance and Operation. There was a session held last week on the same topic where he talked about the initial setups and onboarding. Today he will be taking it further to the next level. So without any further ado, I'll hand it over back to Narsima. Narsima, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Rachit. Just give me a minute, please. Let me get Paul.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that. So,
Problem.
thank you everyone for joining this session. So, we're going to continue the last week vendor collaboration module. So today we'll be concluding our module topics. Basically, we have started with vendor onboarding process in last week. So I'll be continuing with the further topics of the same module today, which will be vendor collaboration capabilities. Once a vendor is onboarded with a company, so what else vendor can do after they can they onboarded. So I'm going to without going making any delay, I'm going to share my screen to take you to further. So I will just share the today's agenda in a single slide. Then immediately I'll take you to the system. So if you see, these are the topics that we're going to see as part of today's session. So we'll be looking at vendor collaboration capabilities once vendor is onboarded. So a vendor basically can access our RFQs. Basically, our company can send the RFQs, request for quotations to vendor, all the vendors. then vendor can access our RFQs and then start bidding for those RFQs so that we can get those quotations or biddings. Then we can take it to further procurement process. So that is part of RFQ bidding. Then once we create the once we finalize vendor bidding, one vendor quotation, then we can confirm that purchase order. Um, so that that purchase order also we can send it for the confirmation of the vendor so that the vendor can look at their workspace of the vendor collaboration portal, and then they can confirm our purchase order, or I mean confirm as in they can accept our purchase order or reject it, or probably they can change the suggest, they can probably suggest the changes as well. So once a purchase order is accepted, supplier will deliver the stock, and then simultaneously they can also issue the invoices as well. So that invoice issuing process also can happen from vendor collaboration. So basically, from vendor collaboration portal itself, we can basically get the invoice directly from vendor. Then at the last but not least, we'll be looking at the consignment inventory as well. So overall, sorry, I'm just getting a echo. So we'll be looking at the consignment inventory basically once we get the inventory from the vendor on consignment basis. So where how vendor can check their inventory in our site on time to time basis. So that part as well we're going to check it. So without making any further delay, I'm going to system to take you through the process. So currently I'm using my demo environment, which is in my installed as my in my virtual machine. So last session, vendor onboarding process also I've used the same mission. So I'll be taking that process from there. So basically, we have onboarded a vendor called Raj Industries in last Saturday. So if you go to all vendors, so this is a vendor that we have actually created in last session. So we'll be using the same vendor for vendor collaboration capabilities to check the capabilities. What else capabilities that vendor can do from by using vendor collaboration portal. Yeah. So the first thing that we need to look at the vendor master is if you once vendor is onboarded, once vendor is created, we need to make sure that the vendor collaboration is active. So here, if you see vendor collaboration section, we have multiple options here. So here, if you look at the drop down, uh, either we can active PO is not auto confirmed, or active is auto confirmed. So what this means basically is once if you say active PO is not auto confirmed, whenever we send a purchase order to vendor for a vendor confirmation or vendor acceptance, once they accept our purchase order, the purchase order will not be automatically confirmed in our system. We will have to go and manually confirm it. Okay. Then if you say auto confirm, you don't have to manually confirm it. So once a vendor accepts that purchase order, so it will be automatically confirmed. So basically, both options denotes for activation of this vendor for the vendor collaboration access. Yeah. If you say not active, definitely this vendor will not have any access of our purchase orders in vendor portal. They'll not be able to see our purchase orders. Right. That is the one important setup that we need to look at it. So as soon as vendor is onboarded, by default, the system will make this option enable, right? So I'm just making sure that this option is activated. So as part of our agenda, first we look at our RFQ or bidding process. So we are going to create, I'm not going to show you the purchase requisition process and all this. I'm directly going and creating a request for quotation manually so that, we can take the further process from there. So I'll go to procurement and sourcing. I'll go to all requests for quotations. So I'm going to create a new request for quotation. So here I can select whatever the applicable document it is. So we'll take it as purchase order for now. So let's say for choosing of Then you can set the delivery dates, expiry date, and other information, which is basically the regular RFQ process. And I will select the warehouse, to which warehouse I basically have to receive the stock. Just click OK. So before adding the items for the first, I will just go to header of the. Here, if you see, I can specify the mode of delivery, delivery terms, whatever that I want to have it. And if you look at the bidding guidelines, you can also add the bidding guidelines. So let's say I want to let my vendor know the guidelines that I'm basically defining. Basically, delivery should be on time. Yes, it is required. Then, I mean, these are also a few examples that I've just created. Quality should meet basically quality items must meet the quality requirements. So I'll say required. So basically, when I say required, vendor must answer this, this particular bidding, when they must comply for these bidding guidelines. And at the same time, if you also look at a vendor, so in here, this is where basically we'll add all the vendors. Let's say I'll just add two vendors in our case for just you to demonstrate. So one is our office supplies. Then the other one I'll take it, which is our vendor, which is Raj Industries, which we have created in the last session. So these are the two vendors I'm just going to send this RFQ for. Then if you look at the address, you can see the our company address, delivery address. The others are also so price and discount, which is a regular process. And if you look at the questionnaire, so you can basically add the questionnaire as well, like which are all the which questionnaire you want to follow. So questionnaire is definitely is a separate topic altogether. And once you configure the questionnaires, you can add the question. Let's say, for example, I'm going to take this vendor evaluation or vendor qualification for goods. So I'm just adding this questionnaire for vendor collaboration for vendor to answer all these questions. So financial dimension, which is not required. Then I'll go to lines tab, and I can either add items or categories. So I'll just go and select the item first. I'll take Surface Pro 128 GB is one item as part of first line. So I'll say 10 quantity is required. Or definitely I'm not going to define the unit price, because this unit price I have to get it from my vendor through the vendor collaboration. Yeah. So I'll add one more item. Let's say HDMI 6 inches cable, and I require around, let's say, 5 pieces of this. Yeah. So after adding all this information, I'm going to send this RFQ to my all the vendors. In case if you want to add any data attachment, you can also add the attachments as well. So just send it. Okay. So once you send this RFQ to the vendors, my vendor will be able to see this RFQ in the vendor collaboration portal. So once you send it, you basically get a notification in Action Centers that RFQ has been sent to the vendors. So now I'm going to this vendor collaboration portal. So I have already logged in with my user ID, vendor user ID, in incognito mode of the browser. So this is basically the vendor workspace. So in vendor workspace, basically in vendor collaboration portal, these are all the multiple workspaces that vendor can see, which is basically vendor information. First of all, if you look at the vendor information, you can look at their vendor master details in this workspace. So they can go to more details and look at the general information, address, contact information, business information, categories which they are basically supplying for. So that is a part of vendor information. So if you look at the vendor bidding, so this is where basically vendor can access our RFQs which we have sent for these vendors. So simultaneously, you can also look at the purchase orders which our company has sent to these vendors. and vendors can also raise the invoices by using Invoice Workspace. So these are all multiple workspaces that vendor can see. Uh, uh, I mean, so alternatively, they can also access from the modules menu as well through the navigation pane as well. So if you look at the vendor collaboration module, so here you can see the workspaces, or you can also go to module sections basically here. Yeah, so either of the options vendor can use it. Obviously, using Workspace is more convenient for everyone. It looks basically, user friendly dashboard. So just look at the vendor bidding. So just click on this vendor bidding workspace. So I have got one request for quotation. Which I just open it. As a vendor, I got one request for quotation. So if you see, this is the request for quotation. So here, if you see, sorry, I'm sorry for that. So if you see general information about the request for quotation, what is the delivery date that is required, what is the expiry date of, delivery date, I basically, not mentioned anything. So by default, it has taken the today's date. So definitely delivery date should be after expiry date. So expiry date, basically this RFQ will be expired on, and so this date. And, I must provide the bid or quotation on or before this particular date as a vendor, right? So if you just minimize this general tab, so we have bidding guidelines, where basically I have to, comply for these guidelines. I can see. Then if there is an amendments, I can look at it, and the questionnaire answers. So these are all the preview of my RFQ. I mean the USMF company's RFQ. I as a vendor can see the preview of this particular RFQ information. So I can also look at the lines as well. So if I want to bid, if I wish to bid for this particular RFQ, I can go to bid. I just click on the bid, or if I don't want to bid for this RFQ, I can go and just decline it. Yeah. So in case if I want to look at the RFQ attachments, if the procurement professional has attached any RFQ attachment during the RFQ preparation, I as a vendor can go to my vendor portal and look at my RFQ attachments in this particular menu item. So now I'm going to bid this particular RFQ. Just click on bid. So this bid, the screen will basically opens up as a vendor is updating status, and the bid submission mode. Basically, if you just look at the vendor lines, I mean the item lines, here basically I can provide the quotation. Let's say for first line, I'll just quote around 1,000. I'm just giving some random prices. It is not the realistic prices, definitely. So CMI cable, let's say 100. Yeah. So also, if you just go up and look at the vendor bidding guidelines, these are all the required. So basically, you need to comply, for these particular bidding guidelines. And if you look at the questionnaire, so I need to complete the questionnaire as a vendor. So just click on the questionnaire, complete questionnaire. So basically, my system will be asking these questions. So countries where the products are originated, basically, let's say India. So just click forward to go to the next question. Are you certified for maintaining services related to these products? Yes or no. We can do, give an answer basically for all the questions. So here also I'll say yes. Just end. So once you end, so basically you completed the questionnaire. In case if you want to look at the completed questionnaire here itself, once you answer the questionnaire, you can see the answers in a single window. Just click on the view answers. So here you can see all the questions and the answers. Yeah. So in case if I want to attach bid attachment, so let's say yes, I am basically entering the quotation information in the RFQ window, basically in the bid window. But alternatively, if I want to attach my quotation in the PDF format, I can go to bid attachments. and attach my quotation. So it could be any format, could be Word, or it could be image, it could be a PDF file, or it could be Excel, whatever. So for now, I'm just going to attach a file. So when I say file, I can attach any kind of file format. Basically, I'll say uh, I'll just assign some text for text file. So I have
মেথডের
attached.
অ্যাজাম্পশনের যে এরিয়াগুলো, ভ্যালুয়েশনের যে এরিয়াগুলো, সেগুলোতে মূলত গ্যাপগুলো হয়তো ডিফার করে।
Sorry,
Hey guys, can you please be
some.
on mute if you're not speaking?
So is anybody having any queries or something?
Amendment, what is the how we can use the amendment?
Yeah, so amendment, in case once once we send the RFQ to the suppliers, in case if I want to amend it, so in the as a procurement professional, I can go to amendments. If in case if I want to attach any attachment or something, then I can resubmit this quotation to the vendor, so vendor can see all those amendments here. I mean, any additional attachment or something that I got it, so they can access the amendments here in the amendments section.
Okay, and maximum bidding,
Sorry,
number of maximum bidding.
what is meant by maximum bidding?
I have done on the vendor collaboration portal 3 times bidding process. So I want to know the maximum bidding process. Like it's in a real market, maximum bidding is not going more than 1 or 2 times. But as per on our software, I want to know the maximum bidding process. It's more than 5 times or 10 times like that.
So see, once basically you submit the bid, basically, that means that, I mean, you have actually submitted the bid. That's it. So you will not be able to edit it for the second time, basically. So this is basically, you will have some expiry date till what date that you want to submit the bid. Let's say this is the expiry date, and once you submit it, that's it's submitted. Yeah. So finally, I can go and submit by bid. Just submit. So bid is submitted. So if you just refresh it here, you can say that it appears under submitted bids. Yeah. So here, if I go to my USM of company window, I'll just refresh it. So if you just look at the status of the line, right? So you say highest status is basically received. So which means I have received at least minimum one quotation that I have received from the supplier. So if I go to compare replies to you know uh, to see which are all the quotations that I have received, I can see all the vendors. Whoever is submitted the quotation, I can go and look at my compare window screen. So I have just received only one reply from the from one basically a vendor. So if I want to have, so other vendor basically which I added Acme Office suppliers, they don't have vendor collaboration access. So assuming that they have sent the quotation manually through email, so I'm going to, as a procurement professional, I'll go to manage replies and then enter those quotation information manually in the system. So for this, basically, office Acme Office supplies, I'll go to edit. Sorry. This edit is not required. I think there's this setup that is actually missing for editing. I'll have to enable that. But that is fine. So I don't want to get into the other stuff. Basically, I don't want to deviate the process. But basically, we need to enable a feature in the procurement sourcing module to enable the managed replies, so that the purchaser can go and submit the quotation manually. So that is fine. So I'm going to continue with the one reply or one quotation. So I'll just go to compare replies. So assuming that we got multiple replies, I'll just mark one best quotation in the comparison. Then I'll go and accept it. Before accepting, in case if I want to look at the questionnaire, so I can also go to header and look at the questionnaire as well. So here, if you just look at the vendor, so I'll select the vendor first, then go to questions and answers. Oh, sorry, not these questions. Sorry. Uh, 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 uh. Yeah. So here, basically, I can look at the view answers. This. Okay, just give me a second, please. Okay, I'll just check that part. We'll have to relook at that part basically. So we'll just continue for now. So what I will do, I'll just go and accept this particular quotation. I'll just click on this compare replies. Just go and accept it. Just click OK. So once I accept it, what happens? System will automatically create a purchase order. So I'll just get a notification saying that the purchase order 651 has been created. So I can go to that particular purchase order. So I'll go to main screen. I'll navigate to procurement, either accounts payable or procurement and sourcing module, purchase orders, all purchase orders. So I've got a purchase order here, which is 651, which is created. So I'll just click on this purchase order. So I got all the prices, which basically have confirmed in the request for quotation, which is confirmed basically in the quotation. Then what I'll do, instead of confirm in a regular process, when you don't use the vendor collaboration module, you will directly either go and confirm it or use the confirmation button. But since we are using this vendor collaboration module, basically we can send this purchase order directly to the vendor using vendor collaboration portal. So through a send for confirmation functionality. So when you send for confirmation, basically this purchase order will go to a vendor and displays in their portal. So click on send for confirmation. Just click OK. So basically the purchase order has been actually sent to the vendor. So you can also see the purchase order sent for confirmation. So here basically the information basically you can see whatever the purchase order version that you actually sent. Then if you go to a vendor workspace, I'll just go to this vendor workspace basically. I can just go to purchase order confirmation. I as a vendor can go to purchase order confirmation and see the purchase order. Basically, I've got it from the USM of company. So I just open this. So here I can just verify the details, the purchase order, currency details, version, date and time is received, terms of all the terms and conditions, all the delivery terms, mode of delivery, all the information, and to which address basically I have to deliver. All this information I can verify over there in the header, and then lines I can see which are all the items basically I have to deliver and the quantity, right? So I'm going to accept this purchase order. I can write down the notes as well in case if I want to write down anything. Otherwise, I'll just click OK. So it is basically accepted, and just if you refresh and this basically will go away under review. Then if I go back to my purchase order It was actually when I send this purchase order for a confirmation of the vendor, it was basically in a status in a status of in external review. So once I refresh it, since vendor is accepted, when I refresh this window, it will be automatically got confirmed. Right. So the basically the next process is basically a receiving process. I'm going to receive when supplier is delivered the stock at my warehouse. I'll go to receive and post the product receipt. So which is this basically the regular process. I will enter a number, let's say delivery note number, some random number. Click OK. Sorry, system is taking a bit time. Please give me a few seconds. It will get posted. Right. So the product receipt has been posted, and I can see the status of the purchase order is received. So once a stock is received from the vendor, the next activity is basically vendor can create an invoice using vendor collaboration portal. So normally, when supplier is not accessing our portal, basically they can issue the invoices through the emails outside the system. Since we are using the vendor collaboration portal, I have a provision. I as a vendor have a provision to create the invoices or issue the invoices directly using the vendor collaboration module. So I'll go to invoicing workspace and I can create a new invoice. So when I click on new, my system will ask me against which purchase order I have to basically issue an invoice. So basically, if you see 651 is the purchase order number, just select it and you can write down the invoice number, whatever the invoice number it is, and what is the invoice date, and any invoice description is required. Then otherwise, you can just leave it as blank. Click create invoice. So these are the lines basically I'm going to invoice for. Then finally, you can just verify the details. And in case if you want to attach the attachments also, invoice attachments, which is generated from my system as a vendor. So I can download that attachment and then attach it here as well. So I'll go on. Finally, click to workflow. Basically, for invoice generation for the vendors, workflow is a mandatory setup. So in our system, USMF company, we need to configure the workflow so that when our vendor submits invoices, it comes to our finance department, and then finance department can verify the received vendor invoices from the from the vendor through vendor collaboration, and they can just verify it and then post it. So basically, there's a control factor basically which we are controlling the uh, unnecessary invoice postings from the vendor. So basically, everything what the vendor is submitting invoices basically will go for review. So I'm going to submit the invoice now. I can write down the comment as well. Just submit it. So once invoice is submitted, what happens if I come back to my window? If I go to invoice tab, basically that invoice comes and sits as my pending vendor invoice. So if you look at the pending invoices, I have not done any invoicing here in my system. Since vendor is created an invoice using vendor portal, it comes and sits in my pending vendor invoices. So I'll go to pending invoices. So here it is. I can see the invoice number, date, and all that. I'll just click on the invoice number. Sorry for that, some noise is there. So here basically I can verify the vendor information and vendor invoice information which is submitted by the vendor, and I'll just go and approve it. So basically this workflow takes a bit 1 or 2 minutes to run it. So we'll just wait for that. Uh, we can also match the product receipt as well, guys, before posting the vendor invoice against which product receipt basically we are going to post this. So go to match product receipt. Basically, we can do this during the in-review process of the invoice. So let me look at the vendor invoice status. Let me look at the vendor invoice workflow status. Basically, it is completed. Just wait for a few more seconds to get completed. So basically, the vendor invoice is automatically posted in the vendor invoice. Sorry, in the vendor invoice workflow itself, we have enabled the automatic action of the vendor invoice posting. So once it is approved, that automatic action will also run, and the invoice gets posted here. So I can see my invoice gets posted here. So that's all about the vendor invoicing, basically the RFQ to vendor invoicing process. So if I look at my vendor collaboration, I can also just go and look at my uh, invoices and just, sorry, let me just refresh it. So basically all the vendor invoices that I can actually see here under the invoicing workspace. So whatever is unposted and posted, in this basically 651 purchase order invoice actually got posted and it is still unpaid. So invoice status also basically I can see. So this is what actually I can also in the under related information, I can also look at the remaining amount, which is basically yet to be paid by the company. Yeah. So that is about the RFQ to invoicing process. And a vendor can also look at the on-hand inventory of the consignment, inventory. In case if I get the consignment inventory, I as a USMF company get the consignment inventory from this Raj Industries vendor. Once I receive the stock, as a company, I'm maintaining the consignment inventory. That consignment inventory on hand vendor also can check using the vendor collaboration portal. So if you go to on-hand consignment inventory, basically, once we receive the stock on the consignment basis, they can look at the stock here basically. So let me just do that as well quickly. Yeah, I'll go to USM of company. What I will do for the consignment related, we are not going to look at a complete consignment functionality of Dynamics today. Basically, what I will do, I'll just receive the stock on consignment basis, and the remaining process I'll just leave it so that the vendor can see the consignment inventory in the portal. So the first thing that I have to do as part of consignment process in the configuration, basically as part of configuration, I'll go to inventory management, then inquiries and reports, and under tracking dimensions, I'll go to inventory owners, and I need to add this Raj Industries as an inventory owner. So I have already added it earlier just by just clicking new button. You just have to add that particular vendor as a consignment owner. So that is the one setup basically that we need to do as part of consignment. Then the next one is basically I have to receive the stock on consignment basis. I'll go to procurement and sourcing module, just collapse everything. I'll go to consignment and consignment replenishment orders. So here I'll just click on a new consignment replenishment order. So let's say from which vendor I'm going to receive the stock on consignment. Let's say Raj Industries. In site and warehouse, I can just select my site and warehouse. Click OK. And here I'll add one item. Let's say Surface Pro. Oh, sorry. Basically, I need to use an item which is having either moving average or standard costing method. Let me just see if I get any item which is basically using moving average or standard cost. Just look at that. So this is the moving average. I'll go to related items. Okay, so I'll just take this item. I'll just go to duplicated tab. I'll just keep this form as it is, because in case if I get any error with this item, I'll take some other item. Yeah. Right. So I'll go to procurement and sourcing module, consignment replenishment orders. So this is the, so just click on edit. Sorry, just click on this order number, just add the item. Oh, okay. So basically system says that the owner dimension is not active for this particular item. So what I will do, yeah, so I will take this item. There is a product which is basically having a moving average plus owner dimension as well. So I'll take this item, for example. Just click on this. We'll specify, let's say, 100 quantity. So finally, I'll have to go and post the product receipt. So the product receipt is basically receiving the stock on consignment basis. Let's say delivery note number, I can enter it, which I basically receive from the supplier. So then click OK. The stock will be received. So now if I look at my on-hand stock for this particular item, then if I just look at the overview, I can see there is 100 quantity in my on-hand stock under the warehouse 11 with the ownership of my Raj Industries vendor. Yeah. So the same stock can also be seen in the vendor portal as well. If I go and look at my vendor portal and look at my on-hand consignment inventory, see, I can basically see how much my inventory, I as a vendor, how much my inventory is actually available in USMF company under my ownership. So this is basically what is today's topic basically. So Rachit and Umesh, so it's over to you. I'm done with the today's process, and we can probably take Q&A session in case if anybody have any queries or something.
Thanks, Narasimha. I think that was full end-to-end demo. So it really looks good. There are a lot of questions in the chat window, so I would encourage people to unmute themselves and open up for Q&A. They can ask the question. Then we can see whatever is remaining in the chat window. We will take those questions.
Yeah, so I can read some questions here.
Hello. Hello. Vijay this side.
Yeah,
Yes,
Uh,
Vijay.
hello. Yeah. So I have two questions. So one I already posted in chat. One is moving average is the mandatory for the item for consignment inventory.
Yeah, so basically using the either moving average or standard cost method is basically a mandatory, and you cannot use other costing method others than these two, Vijay. So this is the limitation that we have in Dynamics.
Okay. Any reason? Any reason behind
So
this?
basically, most of the companies follow these two costing methods actually for especially for the consignment inventory by for maintaining a standard costing price, not to have any average, not to have any the average price with the by mixing up with the existing inventory.
Mhm. Okay. And another question is, let's say, it's vendors inventory is about to consume is getting over. Uh,
Okay.
So, is there any possibility to set up any auto replacement or safety stock kind of thing in the vendor side that only?
For consignment related, basically you cannot say that replenishment for a consignment perspective, but in case it is your item, which is basically a part of normal your procurement, not on the consignment base. Yes, you can by using the master planning module.
But from our side, we can maintain means we can request a
Yeah,
vendor that
yes,
your
definitely, definitely. You
inventory
can
is about
maintain
to.
that min max. You can maintain that min max levels, minimum order quantity, maximum order quantity, all the like all other items. But only thing is that cannot be replenished for only this particular vendor for on a consignment basis. So consignment replenishment
Mhm.
of the orders can be manual orders, cannot be through the master planning. Is what actually I'm saying.
Any notification we can send it for the minimum stock to vendor. I'm saying to vendor collaboration portal.
No, no, not really.
No. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Vijay, there are a few more questions. I will read out to you, Narasimha, and then you can
Sure,
add your
Rachit.
views on that. So
Sure,
one question, I'll actually go bottom up. So the
sure.
last question was around for the consignment inventory, can we use it with advanced warehousing or is it a limitation? What's your view?
Advanced warehouse, even I'll have to check that, Rachit, whether we have any new feature got released. I don't
Mhm.
think we can, I don't think we can basically use this advanced warehouse management. I mean, advanced warehouse management as in that, for a purchase, no, I don't think, no. I don't think that we can
Okay.
use it. Yeah,
Okay.
because this just supports only the purchase order, but the purchase order will be automatically received when you use the consignment replenishment orders. So it has to be manual.
Okay, I think we'll have to dig deep. We'll see what is the option when advanced warehousing is enabled and companies want to use consignment inventory.
Yeah.
Cool, no problem. There is another question around workflow approval. So once the workflow approval is complete and the purchase order is approved, can we automatically send an email to the vendor? Sushil, if you want to elaborate, you can unmute and elaborate to the question.
Hi. So on the notifications, so it's basically the moment purchase order is approved, we want to send the purchase order over an email automatically to the supplier.
Yes, that can be done using print management destination social.
So Rachit, in case if someone has that link or some document around that, probably I would like to explore that one. That is some pressing need around that currently
Yeah.
with me.
Sure. We'll just send that. We'll check and send that to you.
And also one more question which I posted earlier. So basically in the notification tab on the top, if you see, uh, So suppose I have submitted a purchase order, right? And it goes to level 1. The level 1 is able to see that notification on the top that, okay, this has come for his review. Now, the moment level 1 approves and it goes to level 2 will also get that notification. But the challenge is that the original workflow initiator did not receive any notification on that one that, okay, this has been approved by level 1 now. This has been approved by level 2.
See, basically here you as a originator will not get for entire process of approvals, level 1, level 2, level 3, all this. But basically, originator can get an approval, can get a notification when it gets submitted, and also when it gets completed the approval process. So upon these two actions, basically originator can get the
No,
notification by
so
using submission instruction.
so what you're
Sorry.
saying is that once the PO is completed, then the
Yeah.
originator can get this notification
Correct.
only at the completion stage.
Only the company. So I as a originator, when I submit the purchase order, I can get a notification. Also, once it gets approved, completely approved by all the people, then I get notification.
So what is the setting around that to configure that one? Because in the standard one, it is not working. Probably if
In
you
the
can highlight.
standard, basically it works. In the standard, it works. Basically, we have in the workflow setup, in the main screen of the workflow setup, in the basic settings, you can basically enable the notifications. The notification section, you can enable that.
Okay.
Sushil, one more thing
And you
is
can add,
workflow.
sorry, Rachit.
No, go ahead.
You can just add the workflow originator as a notification receiver. Sure, Rachit, you can add.
So possibly if you can share that setting in us either in chat or in separate mail, probably that will help.
We'll send it as an email separately because I did not open this one workflow engine or
Yeah.
workflow canvas app. Currently, that takes a bit few
Yeah.
minutes to open up. Yeah,
Takes time.
as you
So
also
drop
aware
me a
of the same.
mail, Sushil. I've shared my email address in the chat window.
Sure.
I'll connect with Narsimha and we can discuss it. Just one more thing is that workflow events are also published as business events. So you can consume these events in Power Automate and then you can configure notifications. So if you want to send notifications to the originator at every step of approval, you can consume business events in Power Automate and you can write your custom Power Automate app to send out notifications. That can be a possible solution as well.
Okay.
Cool. Other questions, let me scroll and see if I can pick. Okay, we've done this. Amendment in RFQ. So there is a question from Priyanka on how can we amend RFQ once it has been submitted?
Yeah, so once it has been submitted, basically you can go to amend section, you can amendment and you can just attach. Basically amendment is kind of, you can just attach some kind of attachment so that, the amendments can be displayed to vendors. So vendors can access that information in the vendor portal.
So we can attach an amendment, then we can resend to the vendor again, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you. There is a question from Vijay. Can we set up different lead times for different vendors in Item Master? I think yes, but
No,
do you want to
So
answer?
basically that is a part of your item master planning related. I don't think that is related to this session, but still I will, try to answer this. Basically the lead time cannot be set for each vendor in the item master, but can set in the trade agreements. By using the trade agreements, you can set it. Yeah.
So there are multiple places where you can define,
where,
and yes, trade agreement
and
is
then you
one
can
of the
define the
options. Yeah.
and then you can define the priority which has to be taken as part of master planning module.
I think in coverage settings also you can define, right? Like you can have different coverage settings and you can
in
define.
the master planning parameters that you have, Rachit, using, with where to take the lowest lead time or, lowest price and all this. Yeah.
Cool. There is a question from Arun. Is it possible in vendor collaboration to add any status like it is in progress, manufactured, ready to dispatch, shipment in progress, etc.?
No, all these statuses we don't have right now. Probably we can expect from Exo very soon. So
That's where
because
developers come in, huh?
definitely, as per my experience with so many projects, there are so many the additional functionalities which is being asked by clients, which is not readily available in standard Dynamics vendor collaboration model right now. Probably, definitely, we can expect them.
And
So
Narasimha, one
in a
more
further,
thing to
further.
add this. And Narasimha, sorry, if Microsoft already mentioned like do not go for any customization in this vendor collaboration board, still they are uh, establishing their functionality.
Yeah, yeah.
And Narasimha, sorry, I have one more question. Like, as a vendor, so I have submitted my bidding, right? So, is there any possibility to hide the bidding details for certain time for the procurement team? Is there any possibility? Like, for example, today I have submitted. Is there any possibility to reveal my bidding detail on after 1 week or something else? Because is there? I mean, there is a possibility to reveal my bidding details to other vendor, right?
Okay.
Is there any possibility to hide for some time?
Uh, Revealing the bidding details to vendor, I
Other
don't
vendors.
think.
See, for example,
I-
see if I submitted, the procurement team can able to see my bidding, and there is some possibility to reveal my
Correct,
details to
correct.
other vendor,
Yes,
right?
yes,
So,
yes,
is there
yes,
any
yes.
possibility?
You're asking about the possibility of not revealing that bidding.
Correct, correct, sir. For
So
example,
basically,
I as a vendor I can. Sorry,
I
sorry.
understood, August. So
Hmm.
basically, we have a sealed bid functionality. So currently, whatever the process I showed you is open bids, which can be seen by procurement professional about your pricing, vendor pricing, all terms and conditions.
Okay,
But
okay,
we also have a functionality of sealed bid functionality, which basically needs to enable so many other setups, and you need to create some other keys as well in the from the technical aspects.
okay,
So once we enable that, probably we can use this, seal week functionality, so that procurement professional will not be able to reveal that. And once after all the approvals are happened, then
hmm.
sealed bits can be opened, and then only they will be able to see that.
Okay, okay. Thanks, Asma. I'll check those things. Thank you.
Sure, sure, sure. I'll share the documentation as well, August, about the sealed bits.
Yeah, yeah, sure, Asma. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. There was a question from Priya on she was getting some issues when sending out the vendor information to set up a vendor for collaboration. So I've messaged her the link of our previous session. Priya, have a look into that session. If you still have question unanswered, you can reach out to either Narsimha email address or my email address, which we have shared in the chat window. And are there any other questions? Last 2 minutes, and then I'll just share a quick update about what's coming ahead, and then we can wrap up. Anyone wants to open up or say anything to Narsimha? Narsimha, great session. Really full end-to-end process was demonstrated
Yeah.
along with consignment inventory. So a
Sure.
big thanks from all of
Thank you
us.
very much, Rachit Unmesh, for giving me this opportunity, wonderful opportunity for me to share my knowledge using this platform. And thank you everyone for joining these two sessions. Yeah, all right. So looking forward for few more sessions in upcoming. Yeah,
Sure. It was really helpful, and definitely we will call you for more sessions going forward. Thank you.
definitely. I'll be always open.
Great,
Thank you.
cool. Okay, so guys, just a quick update on the next session in our group. Next session is on 16th of April, where Muthu Kumaran will be talking about the X++ programming language, which is used to extend and customize Dynamics 365 ERP application. He will talk about best practices, code review tools. So even if you are from functional background, I would encourage you to join it to get an understanding of how we customize and extend ERP applications. I'm really looking forward to that session because from my background is also from development. So yeah, that is our next session. So do register for this event and do join us. We need your support to drive this group forward. We are open for speakers. So call for speakers is open. If you want to present in this group, you can scan this code, submit the form, or you can reach out to one of the volunteers, myself, Umesh, Rahul, or Satya on LinkedIn, and we can organize your session in this group. If you have any ideas you want to call out, you can scan this QR code, which is presented on the screen, and submit your idea for the group. So with that, thanks everyone. Last few minutes, if anyone wants to open up and say something, and then we will close the bridge. And thanks a lot for sparing your taking out time on weekend for this session. So thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
How we can get the link for the next session?
So on our LinkedIn user group, we have shared the registration link. So if you follow our group handle, we can you can find it there, or we will just share it in the chat window here as well. Just give us a minute. I'll share it here. I'll just stop recording for a minute. Yeah. In fact, I'll stop recording now. Then we can discuss.